Hey, true blue, don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off for a smoko and you'll be back later on. Hey, true blue, hey, true blue, give it to me straight, face to face. Are you really disappearing? Just another dying race. Hey, true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or just Vegemite? True blue, I'm asking you. Hey, true blue, can you bear the load? Will you tie it up with wire just to keep the show on the road? Hey, true blue, hey, true blue, now be fair dinkum, is your heart still there? If they sell us out like sponge cake, do you really care? Hey, true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when she's in a fight? Or just Vegemite? True blue, I'm asking you. True blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or just Vegemite? True blue, true.
Demons to the right. We've been waiting a long time, but once again, the moment has arrived. It is grand final day, and here's the first bounce. And there's a mighty roar, and White gets the first up, and Wallace charges in and gets away, and Hardwick kicks it off the side.
Coming in for Carousel, and he just dropped the sitter.
He gets another chance. We've got a bounce 20 metres out. Barnes contests. Hurd snaps. James Hurd bends it back for the Bombers. Is it enough? I think he's started the run. He has. He almost lost it. The umpire thought about putting the whistle up to the lips and then decided against it. Farmer takes the mark. The kick is beautifully smothered by Wellman. Getting it away was McCurry. Now Barnes centering is good towards Barnard. Barnard can kick a goal. 49 metres out. He's enjoyed the goal today, and he's got another one. That's number 4.
Well, Well, if you came to the grand final today, Jason, and had a bet on who would be the leading goal kicker at the end of the game.
Eventually, Melbourne have the numbers for the moment, but Barnard has the pace. Paul Barnard is having a field day. Kicks in towards Moorcroft and co. And Gary Moorcroft. Go Gary! And he does for his mum Judy and his dad who's been watching him from above.
Well, he's one of those players I mentioned that he's been dying to have a crack at the action. He wants to get in.
The verge of collecting their 16th premiership flag. Lloyd from 45 kicks the goal. He's got 4. One in each quarter to the Coleman. There's just over 1 minute remaining.
Great moment for Shaggy forever, who is the best team of all time. But as Jason said earlier, this is the best season we've ever seen. Kevin Sheedy joins Dick Reynolds as the most successful club in over 100 years at this famous club. And they have won their 16th premiership. And is there a better story than James Hird? Well, maybe Bargsy and Wallace get close. Mighty scenes here. They did it tough last year in September. Hardly the team lifted the way. Hopefully this turn will come with the Brother Shaw. And there's a team behind.
Throughout our lives, we share the years, the memorable moments and time with many special people. Our loved ones who are near and dear to us, our close friends who leave an indelible footprint upon our hearts. It is today that we gather and we share this time to honour and pay tribute to the life of a good man who has left his legacy now deeply ingrained in the many lives that he touched. Today we celebrate the life of Arthur Dusting. Arthur, peacefully but sadly, he passed away at the age of 84. It is a very good afternoon to you all. My name is Michael Anderson and I extend an open hand of friendship, warmly welcoming you all here today. If you are joining us via live stream, please feel very included and very much a part of this tribute to Arthur. It's on behalf of Joan, a privilege to share this time, Joan, with you and your family and all your very dear friends. Sharing 40 years, 40 wonderful years together with Arthur, and through your love of travel, your love for each other, the many wonderful memories that will now be treasured forever. We extend our condolences to Arthur's daughters, to Vanessa and Carmel and their families. And Arthur was also close to Joan's children and their partners, who he loved like his own children, Shane and Mary, who are joining us via live stream from Perth, Kim and Steve, Lou and Tony. Arthur was also very proud of his many grandchildren and their partners, Christy and Ben and Alicia and Jason, Tyson and Hannah, Mitch and Paige, Millie and Alex, Bronte and Dylan. Pop loved his grandchildren. He loved to support the kids through the footy and netball and basketball. So many great times together, and Arthur and Joan were also blessed to have great-grandchildren. Taylor, Ivy and Matilda, Brodie and little Toby. Quite the clan you all are, Joan, and fun-filled times that all the children had with their pop. Words are never going to be enough when you're feeling the loss of a man who had a deep impact upon those lives close. And we're feeling for you all today. The past few years and beyond have been fairly tough for the family, watching Arthur battle with his many health challenges. This will be a beautiful tribute, folks, to him, and we're going to begin with a lovely poem, and I'm going to ask Millie now to come forward and share this poem with us. It's called I Heard Your Voice in the Wind Today. Millie. You got it there?
I heard your voice in the wind today, and I turned to see your face. The warmth of the wind caressed me as I stood silently in place. I felt your touch in the sun today as its warmth filled the sky. I closed my eyes for your embrace and my spirit soared high. I saw your eyes in the window pane as I watched the falling rain. It seemed as each raindrop fell, it quickly said your name. I held you close in my heart today. It made me feel complete. You may have died, but you are not gone. You'll always be a part of me. As long as the sun shines, the wind blows, the rain falls, you will live inside of me forever, for that is all my heart knows.
Thank you, Millie. So, folks, there's a story to be told today and to pay tribute to Arthur, who was admired for all that he'd achieved throughout his life, and I shared some valuable time with Arthur's family, and you listen to them talk about a man who was simply the chief organiser for everything. A man who lived and swore by his Bible, or should I say his diary. I'm told Arthur would like to be pretty much in charge and pretty much in charge of all the plans. He had them sorted, he dotted the I's and he crossed the T's, and everything was very well organised, no matter what he did. And Arthur and Joan were very social. It's obvious today, many, many close friends, all of you who valued your friendship enormously with Joan and Arthur. Now, there's two things about Arthur that people may or may not think weren't so good. Firstly, he barracked for the Bombers, which is better than barracking for that other side, Collingwood. There was a couple in the crowd, always a couple. But I reckon go Bombers. Arthur was a Bombers man through and through. He loved his footy, he loved his fishing. And the other thing is, they tell me Arthur wasn't good at a barbecue. He burnt the crap out of everything. Is that right? Is that right, Joan?
You think he got better, though?
He got better as time progressed. But he loved his beer. He loved his red and he loved his beer. I think he liked his red out of the cask. Yep. And lots of stories, so we can tell everybody. Joan, at some stage, I think it might come up down the track about the day he sprayed his nuts. There's a story, folks, if you've probably heard it, but we're going to share it with you again. Importantly, though, folks, it must be mentioned how much he adored his girl. Arthur and Joan, he had Joan on a pedestal and he would do anything for her. And she was his world, along with his family and the great times that they had together. So this is the family's tribute, and I'm now going to ask Kim to come forward and share with us in a little bit more detail the story of Arthur Dusting.
Arthur was born in Melbourne on the 26th of September 1936 to Alfred and Elsie Dusting. His brother Trevor was born 3 years earlier and they shared a close relationship throughout their lives. Arthur's childhood was spent in Coburg, where he attended Coburg Primary School and later Ivanhoe Grammar, although he often said that he would have preferred to have gone to tech school. The family owned a holiday house in Warneet where many happy years were spent swimming, sailing and fishing. Arthur's first job was with an electrical company in the city. This was where he met his good mate Alan Mottram, who became a lifelong friend. Arthur often commented on the mischief they got up to in those early years. Arthur met and married his first wife Lorna in 1960 and their daughter Vanessa was born in 1962, followed by another daughter Carmel in 1964. Arthur was so proud of his girls and their partners Chris and Gary and their achievements in life. Eventually Arthur became involved with the bakery business, including managing his own bakery in Dandenong. Later on, Arthur held various managerial positions with Home Pride Bakery, including Bendigo, Ballarat, Townsville. Many friendships were forged during this time and continue today. Arthur and Joan became a couple in 1980 and were married in Bendigo in 1984. They have enjoyed a close and loving relationship for 40 years. During those years, they lived in Ballarat, Buninyong, Kangaroo Flat, Maiden Gully, Townsville, back to Maiden Gully, and eventually to Aviva Village at Kangaroo Flat, where they have enjoyed 13 years as village people. So Arthur inherited 3 stepchildren, Shane, Kim and Lisa, and their partners Mary, Steve and Tony. Over the years, Joan and Arthur were blessed with 6 grandchildren, Christy and Alicia, Tyson and Mitch, Millie and Bronte. All the grandchildren enjoyed a close bond with their nan and pop, spending many happy times together. Another generation of great-grandchildren has also come along, Taylor, Matilda and Ivy, Brodie and little Toby. Arthur had many varied interests, including completing national service and was always interested and involved with the National Servicemen's Association and the RSL. He enjoyed playing tennis, was a member of the Bendigo Coast Guard at Lake Eppalock. He loved caravanning and travelling around Australia. During one of these trips in the early days, they met a young couple, Darren and Raquel from Perth, who became firm friends, and Artie loved to follow their travel adventures right up until recent times. He was a keen fisherman, a devoted Bombers supporter and attended many games over the years, a member of Probus, a member of the Bendigo Caravan Club where he and Joan developed many close friendships which continue today. Arthur did not always enjoy good health, and at 46 he suffered his first heart attack. Heart problems continued throughout his life, culminating in a quadruple bypass surgery and eventually a pacemaker in later life. Joan and Arthur enjoyed many happy years at Eppalock, where they had an on-site caravan and would stay there most weekends during those years, together with their children and partners whenever possible. It was exhausting to spend a weekend there, as it was expected that you would participate in tennis, skiing, sailing, barbecues, outdoor cinema and general partying. They met their good friends Mary and Lou at Eppalock and have continued a close friendship throughout the years. The majority of Joan and Arthur's life was spent at Maiden Gully, where they were constantly entertaining visitors, having barbecues and relaxing in the spa with a glass of wine. Artie was forever on the ride-on mower, painting the deck and brewing his beer. All the kids remember fun in the spa and concerts out the back, and Pop dressed as Santa on Christmas morning. Tyson remembers camping trips in the Troopy, shared birthdays with Pop and swimming with the Crocs near Townsville. Now to the story of Artie's nuts. Arthur and Joan were travelling in the caravan again and were near Gladstone in Queensland. Everything was going fine until early morning when they headed off to their next destination and Artie began feeling sick. They pulled off the road where he was violently ill and Joan had to ring the ambulance. The ambulance finally arrived and whisked Artie off to hospital in Gladstone. Joan was left on the roadside trying to get assistance from RACV, which turned out they didn't actually have. The Ambos ended up coming back to pick Joan and the caravan up, and they parked it on site for her in the caravan park in Gladstone and took her to the hospital. The doctors were bamboozled. They couldn't find what was wrong. Artie just happened to mention to Joan that the previous night there were ants crawling over his nuts. So he sprayed them with fly spray and continued to eat them, possibly after a couple of red wines. So when the doctor came in, Joan asked if this could be the cause, which of course it was. This has been an ongoing joke in the family, and it never ceases to get a laugh when Artie's nuts are mentioned. Good on you, Artie, you always loved a ride in an ambulance. Sadly, Arthur suffered dementia in later years of his life, but also always kept his sense of humour, which the nurses caring for him in the last few months would often mention. Thank you, Artie, for all these years of love and laughter. You will always be with us in spirit.
Thank you, Kim. Beautifully read. They were his peanuts, weren't they? That he sprayed. Yeah, I'm just getting onto that. Folks, the tributes continue, and I've got a beautiful tribute here from Arthur's stepson, Shane.
Looking back, I guess as a little kid, you're kind of like Uncle Arthur. You lived just around the corner from us in Dandenong in the 60s. I remember spending hours and hours at your place with your daughters. And I remember you sometimes coming to our place at Bairnsdale or Bendigo with your family during school holidays. Then one day, long after the sands of time had passed, you came into Mum's life and into our lives collectively. You wasted no time giving me life instructions and making it clear to me you would always be there to listen. You never let me down, though at times I must have frustrated you. You were such a good man. I knew you'd always stand by Mum. You never let us down. When Christy was born, you latched onto her like the 100% poppy you were always going to be. You loved her fervently and always did. Alicia came along and you shared your abundant love as much as you did with Christy. There was no room for complacency with you. It was all or nothing. Through the years you gave them so much joy and equally dread was dispensed, often subtly reminding them of the persuader. Of course you never had to use it, but the girls will never forget it regardless. So many times over the years, you often surprised me with the compassionate advice you would give. You'd sit and help me for hours attempting to teach me the finer art of managing a budget, or the time you told me not to love too hard. You said, love should be cupped in your hand like sand, so it can choose to blow in the wind, not to be enclosed and crushed. I know you were sad when I left for Perth, but never judged me on the decision. You continued to love me and those who I chose to love. Above it all, it was Mum and her feelings you were always about protecting. You gave Mum so much love and joy. It made us all happy to see how happy she was. Mum and I often spent hours laughing about your funny ways, and I'm sure we'll continue to do just that. After I set up Netflix for you, for example, you would be continually calling me, asking me how to get Netflix back because you'd accidentally changed the pin in the machine I'd set up for you. I was often frustrated while trying to explain to you how to get back into it, but I'd be telling Mum about it and we'd both be wetting ourselves laughing for ages. Your dry wit, sarcasm and sly grin are things I'll always cherish. While I was relaxing yesterday in the garden after doing some things around the house and thinking about you and how much I'll miss you, a magnificent monarch butterfly flew around, checking everything out. Unbelievably, I can't recall seeing one of these beautiful butterflies since I lived in Bendigo, but there it was in all its glory. Mary told me it was you coming to check on me, and now I think about it, I believe that's true. Yes, Artie, I'm okay. I just want you to be okay. To be free and rest peacefully. You've more than earned that right. If we have forgotten to show our gratitude for all the things you did, we're thanking you now, and we're hoping you knew all along how much you meant to us and how much we loved you.
Shane, thank you. Now for a few stories, folks. I'm going to ask some very good friends of Arthur's to come forward. Bill Binns, would you like to step up and reflect a little bit more for us? And Bill, you might introduce Ray Rainey after this for me.
Okay.
Could you do that?
I could.
Thank you.
Oh. When I first met Arthur, I didn't have to wear these. Okay. When Joni asked me to speak today, oh, not too good when I look up, I said to Joni, I'm a sook and I'll cry. So I bought a prop along that might help me through it. But I noticed I didn't have to do it because I had some here. What I want to talk about today is Arthur's career in the bread industry, and you've heard a little bit about it already from Kim, and also about Home Pride loafers. I first met Arthur in 1972 when I joined the Home Pride Bakery Group. Arthur joined the group in late 1960s when he sold his family bakery business to Home Pride. Home Pride had the practice to offer employment to the manager of the business that they took over. So Arthur became a round supervisor for overseeing and controlling 20-odd rounds on a daily basis at our Clayton bakery. And the Clayton bakery was the largest bakery in the Southern Hemisphere. We were running some 100 trucks out of there on a daily basis. During the late 70s and early 80s, Arthur fulfilled a number of important roles in the organisation, including relieving country manager, Bendigo bakery manager, and Ballarat bakery manager. In all these roles, Arthur reported to Norm May, who at that time was our Group General Manager. Unfortunately, Norm couldn't be here today. However, he has been in contact with Joni in the last few days. In 1987, the Home Pride Group was taken over by Goodman Fielder. And after a couple of years, a number of us took the package on offer, which included myself and Norm May. Arthur stayed on and was appointed the manager of Townsville Bakery in 1990, where he had his third heart attack, and I repeat, third heart attack. In 1992, Norm May was headhunted and became the general manager of Tip Top Bakeries, who had built a new factory in Bendigo. Norm immediately contacted Arthur, despite him having had 3 heart attacks, to manage the Tip Top Bendigo bakery, which really showed the faith he had in Arthur's ability to run bakeries. And I believe that was a real feather in Arthur's cap. As I mentioned earlier, I want to talk about Home Pride loafers. Arthur formed the Home Pride loafers which was a group of people from Home Pride Management that either had caravans or motorhomes. Arthur had travelled Australia extensively, and he had the ability of knowing every town he'd been to, and he could describe what there was there when you got there. He just knew every town and knew the features of that town. There were 6 couples in the group, and who are mostly here today. And Neville Trewin organised printing of T-shirts and caps with the Home Pride Loafers logo on them. The first trip was to Eyre Peninsula, which Arthur organised so professionally, and it was an outstanding success. Arthur was an extremely good fisherman, and he taught me to surf fish at Loxwell near Elliston on the Eyre Peninsula coast. I can hear someone laughing there. In 2004, Liz and I planned to go to Cape York. So I thought, Home Pride Loafers' trip to far north Queensland could be a good idea. So I went about doing an itinerary as far as Townsville. I thought it would be a good idea to forward the itinerary to Arthur to see what he thought. Well, to cut a long story short, the outcome was that the new itinerary, Arthur's viewing, did not resemble my itinerary very much at all. And I reckon there could be a few caravanners amongst us today that maybe could relate to this. Got a couple more props. Right. Can you imagine 12 people walking around the Rockhampton Plaza wearing the Home Pride Loafers outfit? We got some strange looks and queries to what we're all about.
We did, Joni.
Joni, thanks for asking me to speak today. It was a real privilege. And to Artie, thanks for the memories. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
That, folks, is nothing unusual for Benzie. Strangely enough, he used to be one of my bosses many years ago, and he'd forget me then. He used to have hair then too. Okay, well, mine is only a little bit. It's very small print though, and I still can read it, I hope. Starts off, one day back in the 70s, a couple of us were sitting in the kitchen at the old Home Pride Bakery in Wattle Street. I can't remember who the other two were, but anyway, having a coffee. All of a sudden a strong smell and almost a stink appeared at the back door. It wafted in through the kitchen door and followed by a gentleman with a pipe hanging out of his mouth. And that goddamn pipe, so help me God, I don't know how many times we threatened to bury it. Anyway, when this guy walked in, he introduced himself as Arthur Dusting and he was to be our new manager. Well, one look at that pipe and we thought this is going to be a challenge to break this bloke in. We thought he's just another guy sent from the dregs of the city, trying to teach us country bumpkins how to suck eggs. And I think the pipe said it all anyway. Being a bakery accountant at that time, I was the first one to get put through the mill. And as I said, that was back in the 70s, and that started a long-lasting friendship right up until now. and more of outside work than it was at work actually. Over time everything changed to his way of thinking. The pipe disappeared and business just went on. But Bill said enough about the Home Pride days, and I'd just like to mention a couple of personal experiences that Kath and I have had with Joan and Arthur. One of them was, I think, probably the last trip the Loafers did. Nev was there, a few others were there, I can't remember exactly who. And that was over around South Australia, and we did wear shirts, and they stood out in a shopping plaza somewhere, like Bill said. Almost like the Caravan Club shirts now, but a little bit brighter. That was back in 2007. We finished on that trip, I think, up out Corumba in Queensland, up in the Gulf. Or maybe not, maybe that might have been another trip we did with Arthur and Joan. My memory's not as good as some. 2009, Joan and Arthur introduced us to the real part of Australia, the Pilbara. All the other parts up in the west. I think Kim and Steve were up around Port Kembla back then. Port Hedland. Port Kembla, that's the other way, isn't it? Told you my memory was gone. And we terrorised them for a few days. Went up to Broome. We had a lot of experiences on there, and then we got back to Newman. That dear old black Pajero said, "I've had enough. I'm not going any further." So the rotten sods left us on our own at Newman. We'd never been hardly out of Victoria. They flew home, didn't they? Thanks to the RACV. And the only thing, the good thing that came out of that was the RACV got a lot more business. The other part of the very, very early days was when Arthur started in Bendigo, he would often call in at Pylong, where we were living at the time, for a cup of coffee on a Friday night. And trust me, Bill, those Nissans did have enough pace to get speeding tickets, because he got a few. Later years they joined the Caravan Club, and as you'll see later, there's quite a lot of his friends here from the Caravan Club. He was past president of the club. He was also a rally coordinator. And the biggest circuit we all had when he was rally coordinator, he'd put the program for the next day up with army time on it. Who the hell knew what 900 hours was? Yeah. But the only other little comments I'd make is that everything he did, either at work or outside work, was to the best of his ability, and whether you agreed with him or whether you didn't, and believe me, there's a lot of times we didn't, he would always stand behind his convictions. On a personal note, Kath and I are grateful for the times we spent with Arthur and know now that he will be resting in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Bill. Another tribute, folks, on behalf of the Truan family, Nev and Bev and Courtney. I'm going to ask Darren. Darren, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Thanks, Michael. So I'm representing the Truans today. I think they're 40-odd year friends of Artie's and Joni's. And the Truan children, Lisa Jane, Brett and Mickey, have a lot of fond memories growing up with Artie. And I actually met Artie, must be 20-odd years ago, I think. What a fantastic bloke he was. We have many fabulous memories of our friendship with Arthur. We first met Arthur when he was the manager of the Home Pride Bakery in Ballarat so many years ago. Our friendship started almost instantly from that moment. The very competitive nature of Arthur came to the forefront when I was the manager of the Seymour branch for Home Pride Bakery. The local Lions Club was organising a charity event in the way of a raft race down the Goulburn River from Trawool to Goulburn Park in Seymour. Nev invited Arthur to participate as well. He came from Ballarat with his rowing crew. The very handsome and sleek raft that Artie did looked like he employed one of NASA's aeronautical engineers to design it and build it, purely with the intention of finishing well up in the field. And that he did. He beat Seymour crew very easily that day, The following year, Nev made sure he was on his raft. Once he transferred to Bendigo, our friendship really took off. He met the gorgeous Joni, got married and was living his best life. We water skied at Lake Epilock and Bundalong. We used to go together along with the kids to watch the mighty Bombers play. Artie and Jane used to come across to Seymour most Sundays to watch Mickey play footy. Nev and Bev and Jane and Artie travelled together to Hong Kong, where I think they spent more time on the ferry going between Hong Kong and Hong Kong Island, just because it was so relaxing sitting there and observing just how busy the harbour was. One night while they were there, they had dinner in the revolving restaurant. They got in the lift to head up to the 64th floor. The first 17 floors were fine, but then they had to change lifts to one that was on the outside of the building. About halfway up, Artie told Nev the bolts were coming loose. Not fair when he knew that Nev wasn't fond of heights. Let's just say after a few beers, going back down was a piece of cake. Artie and Joan both came and helped us celebrate our 25th and 45th wedding anniversaries. I have such fun memories over the last 40 odd years. And this is from Nev. Mate, you are already missed so much until we meet again.
Thank you, Darren. Thanks, Nev. Bev. Folks, now time, I think, for a beautiful tribute from Arthur's grandchildren, and I'm firstly going to ask Alicia to come forward. Alicia. Alicia's going to go first, and then Bronte, if you'd come up after that and share with us a beautiful poem that you've got.
On behalf of myself and my sister Christy, memories, a passing second, a fleeting minute, a distant year, forever in time, but always in the heart. Big, strong and resilient, a man we were so blessed and lucky to have. The lake, the smell of mud, the sound of water lapping on the boat, the tube, the wakeboard and the skis, drinks at friends' caravans, table tennis in the rotunda, mosquitoes around the fluorescent lights, the trampoline mat under my skin, riding bikes and movies under the stars. Always ensuring the fire is warm, the sound of Pop closing the glass door on the fireplace, and on another wonderful day, Poppy's truck, the compass bouncing around the top, the smell of sheepskin, the akubra, the glasses, the prickly white beard and the wispy white hair. Pop in his armchair watching the ABC, poking at the fire in the Canara, the ticking of the clock. Pop finding our Dark Crystal video and another endless grandchildren's dance performance for Pop to film. Waking to the sound of the wind chimes on the back veranda, Pop gone before first light. The little Poppy teddy bear with an uncanny likeness and the smell of leather from Pop's poppy strap. The smell of toast and the clunk of bowls of cereal being prepared by Nan, ready for Pop's valiant return back from his walk. The front veranda, the sheep, the corner cane swing, the driveway rocks, looking for fool's gold, the caravan, the heart cushion after heart surgery, the photos, the endless VHS memories and trips that had just been, the hugs, the tears goodbye, the laughs, the love and the look on Nan's face when she looked at you. Don't think of him as gone away. His journey's just begun. Life holds so many facets. This earth is only one. Just think of him as resting from the sorrows and the tears in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days or years. Think how he must be wishing that we could know today how nothing but our sadness can really pass away. And think of him as living in the hearts of those he touched. For nothing loved is ever lost, and he was loved so much. Pop, you were our everything. How blessed we were to have you in our lives. We love you, and may your memory long linger in our hearts and minds forever.
This poem's called Gone Fishing. I've finished life's chores assigned to me, so put me on a boat headed out to sea. Please send along my fishing pole, for I've been invited to the fishing hole, where every day is a day to fish, to fill your heart with every wish. Don't worry or feel sad for me. I'm fishing with the master of the sea. We will miss each other for a while, but you will come and bring your smile. That won't be long, you will see, till we're together, you and me. To all of those that think of me, be happy as I go out to sea. If others wonder why I'm missing, just tell them I've gone fishing.
Thanks, Bronte. Thanks, Alicia. Folks, I'm sure you'll agree with me that this has been a wonderful eulogy and tribute to Arthur. Thank you, family. Thank you, friends. A picture can say so much. It's another way that we can reflect and tell a story. So we'll show you this montage of photos and the presentation backed by a couple of classic songs that Arthur, I think, would like.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in the sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, we love you so. And when ye come and all the flowers are dying, and I am dead as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I shall hear the softly tread above me, and on my grave will a warmer, sweeter be, and ye shall abandon, tell me that you love me, and I shall hear the soft your tread above me, and on my grave will a warmer, sweeter be, and ye shall abandon, tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to
I've been everywhere. Well, I was humping my bluey on the dusty Oodnadatta road when along came a semi with a high-end canvas-covered load. If you're going to Oodnadatta, mate, with me you can ride. So I climbed in the cabin and I settled down inside. He asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand. I said, listen, mate, I've traveled every road in this hill land, 'cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've traveled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Been to Tullamore, Seymour, Lismore, Mooloolaba, Nambour, Ridgedale, Kilmore, Marillaba, Birdsville, Emmaville, Wallaville, Conowano, Connemara, Strathround, Proserpine, Ulladulla, Darwin, Gingin, Nilliquin, Muckdilla, Wallumbilla, Bougainville, Cumberland, I'm a killer. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've traveled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Yeah, but listen here, mate, if you've been to Moree, Taree, Drillaby, Bamboo, Toowoomba, Gunnedah, Caringbah, Woolloomooloo, Dalveen, Tamborine, Ningadeen, Jindabyne, Lithgow, Casino, Brigalow, Narromine, Megalong, Wyong, Tuggerawong, Wangarilla, Moorilla, Ocotillo, Brindabella. I'm the fella who's been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've travelled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Yeah, I know that, but have you been to Wollongong, Geelong, Currajong, Mullumbim, Mittagong, Molong, Drong, Drong, Goonda, Windy, Yarra, Yarra, Boondah, Wallongara, Turramurra, Gary, Gundagai, Narrabri, Toowoomba, Golgong, Adelong, Billabong, Cabramatta, Parramatta, Wangaratta, Coolangatta. What's the matter? I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've travelled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Yeah, but that's fine, but how about... Big Long, Dandenong, Woodinbong, Ballarat, Canberra, Moolpara, Yundam, Skunk, Flat, Clonkai, River Murray, Kurri, Gurraween, Terrigal, Stock, Millville, Collaroy, Narrabeen, Bendigo, Darrigal, Bangalore, Winderpuri, Kirribilli, Yarrampilly, Wallumbilla. Don't be silly, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've travelled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been here, there, everywhere. I've been everywhere.
So folks, it's getting on to 1500 hours. That's 3 o'clock, right? So we can take this opportunity to wish you all good health, happiness into next year, and may your journey wherever you go be a safe one, your love and your support for each other. Thank you to everyone who's contributed to this tribute to Arthur. Your words, your stories, your love and support for Joan and her family, not just today, but every other day, tomorrow and into the future, doesn't just stop here. The celebration of Arthur's life will continue. Those stories are deeply ingrained, folks. He will always be with you. If I could mention that following the service, there will be light refreshments here in the reception room. And we're going to ask also the Caravan Club members to form a guard of honour if they would. So I'd like you to pop home now and get your caravans. Well, just saying. No, if you could actually line up, marshal the guard of honour just outside our doors leading back to the hearse. Johnny Ford's in charge of that. And then once we've escorted Arthur outside, shortly after that the hearse will leave and the family privately will escort Arthur down into Remembrance Parks, and perhaps we might form the guard of honour again out the front of the hearse. And your final tribute to him as we say goodbye. So today we reflected, we've told a story, we've honoured a man you all really admired. And this is the time, folks, that we say thank you. We thank Arthur for being in your lives. And the best portion of a man's life is those little nameless, unremembered acts of kindness, the love, the warmth of his smile, the hugs, and all the simple things in life that we really truly value. He's gone, yes, but he won't be forgotten. His legacy living on through the lives that he's touched. He has left a footprint upon hearts that will not be erased. Arthur will be remembered forever. His body will be committed reverently and gently. His spirit living on forever, returning to those he loved. So into the freedom of spirit we let him go. Into the dance of the stars and their light we let him go. Into the wind's breath and an echo whispering down the way, we say goodbye to Arthur. We let you go into the light and the love of those gone before you. And as long as hearts remember, and as long as hearts care, we don't part with those we love. They remain with us always. In life, you loved him dearly. In death, you loved him still. Arthur now rests, he rests peacefully.
I am sailing home again, across the sea. I am sailing stormy waters to be near you, to be free. I am flying, I am flying Saudi